What's up guys, Chancel here, and today I have another ranked gameplay for you guys. And this is a 5-stack ranked gameplay alongside my friends who actually, which is kind of weird, we basically just got dragged in. It was a trio plus a 1+1, so my friend who is playing as Lunox dragged me into this, and they're basically in the trio and we're just gonna fill in for them. So without getting into too much detail, let's talk about team composition. So our team has a Jawhead as a tank. We basically have two fighters, myself, Yu Zhong as a side laner, and Jawhead is the tank. We have double mage, Lunox as the gold laner, as well as Kagura as the mid lane mage, and our jungler is our Granger. Enemy team does have a very tanky and bursty composition. They have two tanks. Hilda is technically a fighter, but you can really consider a fighter tank. And Johnson is the tank as well, which is a huge amount of engage. They have an assassin in the side lane, Helker going against Lunox. They also have a mid lane Chang'e as a mage, and they have a marksman Yi Sun-shin. So here you can see I just yielded basically to the Hilda. Obviously, Hilda has a lot of damage early on, and you can't really sustain against that, especially since Hilda is gonna go back to the bush. And you can see in this game, I went for Petrify. There's a little bit of a trade there on our team, but this guy is already behind a wave, so I'm not afraid to poke him a little bit. Unfortunately, you can't really get, I didn't really manage to get any full stacks onto the hill, which kind of sucks. But sometimes you need to make that sacrifice. It's not really worth it to trade too far, especially if you can't regen as much back, because you will end up out of position if you chase too far. Just gonna play very safe here, and it looks like this guy actually came in, used my Petrify just as a bit of insurance, dodged that first skill. He's gonna use his first skill as well. Our team has come around, but it's a little bit too late. You can see that Granger's ultimate does nothing when the enemy is kinda high in terms of HP. So I was thinking of going back for one round, and I saw there's still this wave here. Hilda's still level 3, I'm level 4. Play a little bit ballsy here, use my ultimate immediately because I'm not sure if Hilda wants to engage on me, and Hilda didn't. So it might seem like a bit of a waste here, but I just want to make sure that the Granger secures the turtle and he messes up the retribution, so it's kind of funny. I get the buff, which isn't the greatest. I'm playing against Hilda, right? So I did lose out a little bit of lane there, so I used to be ahead earlier slightly. Now it's kind of even. So I have to be very careful. I do have the shield, but I don't want to waste it. Hilda is coming out from the bush. Immediately stack my passive, and this time I get it. So once you get the passive, you can play a little bit more aggressive. But if you don't, I don't think there's much of a point here. You can see here in this game I'm playing a little bit more with nuance, because you need to respect Hilda's damage, especially since Hilda has taken the killing spree and is building damage. You can see definitely going for damage. And for myself, I'm gonna immediately take my first defensive item up. Very standard Yu Zhong. You need to sustain enough, long enough for you to even be able to proc your passive and save his ass, or save yourself basically. So Brute Force Breastplate is my go-to item choice. People have thought about War Axe, but War Axe doesn't provide you any defensive stats, and I believe it was slightly nerfed. It is still good, of course, but I don't think you want to do it as your first item because not really worth it, I would say. I went for the Yi Sun-shin, blocked him off, and he can't go anywhere. I don't even need to use my Petrify, I just literally auto him on the spot, jumping into Petrify once again, tanking the tower, just in case. I don't think that was really necessary, to be honest, but that's a very good skirmish there. It's a little bit early on, but we do get some gold out of it, and turtle spawning in about less than 15 seconds, so it's gonna be good. We see Jonathan driving on the map, so we gotta be careful here. As for myself, I'm telling them to be extra careful. You can see Blue Force Breastplate is really good, because it helps you to tank up a lot. But of course, Hilda's damage will just basically ignore armor if you feed the Hilda too much, either yourself or your team. So you do have to be very mindful that Hilda will get stronger later on, even if you put on the Hilda early. So that's one of those things that Hilda is, well, basically that's her kit, right? So any assists or kills up to 8 will just upgrade her ultimate, and at any point onwards at the 8 mark she already deals like so much damage. So you have to be very, very careful for that. Our early game against Hilda has been pretty okay, of course. But that's not to say that Hilda can just jump on our backline and go for it. You can see that they do have a lot of means to engage. They have the Johnson, they have the Hilda. Hilda can just literally run in, right? So there's a lot of dangers for our marksman, and you'll soon see. I mean, we haven't seen it so far, but Jorge can't really tank all the damage, right? He's not really a tank, and he only can throw one target. So if he wants to engage, our backline is basically empty, and that's where the danger comes in, right? So of course, once again, I'm playing very safe. I don't see anybody, and I should have expected this, to be honest. I tried to escape, but there's too much damage. Here they use execute and got a kill. So I probably should have ulted earlier. I realized something was going on, but I didn't react fast enough. And Kagura tries to defend the tower. It's not gonna work out. Our team's too late. They should have just pushed out the tower instead. So I think it's a bad rotation by my team. They do get the tower in the end, but Johnson crashes. Lunok preemptively outs. That's fine, I guess. It's a 1-for-1 trade. But once again, Lunox is not supposed to be taking the side lanes. It's not really much of a point. Lunox has a lot of utility in the mid lane and setting up for your team. So that's what she should be doing. Trying to zone away the healer here. So actually at this point I do see everyone on the map, except for the Hellcat basically. But I know that in the 1v2 I won't die that fast. But I do have to be careful, because now we see Johnson driving down mid. I have to try and come in and help in case something happens. My team is kind of scared, it's not ideal. I jumped onto this Eastern Shin, but my team was not really there. I guess Cargo was there, which is good. But Johnson's still driving, and I can't survive that, unfortunately. Granger's in a bit of trouble. He dashes the wrong way, but Helka doesn't get it anyway. So this is, I guess, a point where it's gonna be a bit sketchy, right? You can see Helka literally just diving onto the Granger. Of course, Helka is not farmed at all. But imagine if Helka had a little bit more items, just a little bit more farm. He will pose a huge threat to our backline. So actually, from this point onwards, from probably 8 minutes to 10 minutes at this point, it's gonna be very, very difficult for us if the enemy team plays it perfectly for us to do anything. So what we're supposed to look for, really, is to look for pickoffs. And you can see Hilda is already 2-0-1 now. And unfortunately, we don't get a turtle, but we win the fight here. So that's fine, because our team, the enemy team, is split up. And this is where it's good, because you cut off someone. You need to cut off someone when the team's not there. Got dash on the Eastern Shin, can't really get much out of it. Interesting conceal there. Didn't really get much value out of it either. And after that, just gonna go back to the lane. So yeah, Hilda actually came in here. You can see why Brute Force Breastplate is good, because it helps you to tank up. And Hilda basically doesn't really do much to me. Of course, I could have taken Vengeance in this game, but I noticed because my team has a jaw hit that's not a reliable engage that can always trust. So I decided to go for Petrify to help my team set up as well. Unfortunately, our team got killed, split up across the map, and it's not great, right? Which is kind of interesting. Obviously, we do get a counter kill here, which is good, but we're not gonna get any towers out of it. And Jorge needs to look for something if we want to take this tower, but he doesn't. I use my ultimate, and here's where I do a dive. I know this is an automatic kill under the Eastern Shin, to be honest, and I use my Petrify as well, but somehow my team doesn't follow. Somehow, I didn't get a damage on. I missed out one hit on my stack for it to activate, and Eastern Shin got away. So that's kind of a huge tipping point for us. You see that I used to be ahead for quite a bit, and now the Eastern Shin obviously is not as much as possible, but you can see Granger is always in the bad spot. And Hilda just one-shotting people, currently sitting at 401. Malefic Roar, Blade of the Heptaseas, and going for Blade of Despair. So Malefic Roar actually got a huge, that itemization rework in that patch. It's not the recent patch, but that item provides so much armor shred. So actually, from this point onwards, I have to be careful. Actually, everyone has to be careful of the Hilda now. I don't think anyone can really tank it. And as I'm clearing the wave, Johnson crashes in our team. There we go. And we just lose 2 members. So this is definitely not good for us. Obviously, you can see why Jorge is like really bad as a tank, really. And realistically speaking, at this point, if not for the the bad plays by the opponent in the early game, we definitely should have lost. Of course, jaw hit does have an advantage early on, but after level 4, if you don't play him right, it's gonna be really difficult for you to survive against the Johnson and everyone who is literally diving to your backline. Even Hellcat dives to your backline, or Yu Zhong can even follow. I mean, that's not really ideal. Yu Zhong is gonna be in a dangerous spot, but he can still follow. And our team doesn't have a lot of peel, so to speak. So once again, just gonna play very safely. You can see that now we're actually on the losing end. And once again, the enemy team played perfectly, basically. They know that I was clearing the wave, so they literally went right in to take our members right in the middle, which is very smart, obviously. Our team definitely played like shit because I was clearing wave. We should definitely back off. I mean, people are looking for the opportunity to go in, right? Yeah, this is just me being very frustrated. I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? So I tried to 1v something, and then Duelos ended up dying as well because Duelos tried to do something as well. Not ideal at all. At this point I was kind of tilted because my team was not doing the right things. They always split up and they always are in a bad position, so it allows the enemy team to just easily engage in them, especially as a Johnson. You really have to respect that. Only when you have the opportunity to cut them off and force a fight in another corner by splitting up the team, then will you have a chance. You can't just take it head on. You will always lose the fight that way, and that's how we've been losing now. So you can see Jawhead can't do anything against Johnson, but Johnson is a bit out of position here. A lot of damage comes in, Kagura is immediately dead, and it dies well. It's very insane at this point. You don't, I mean, Hilda's already at 802, 3 items, Malefic Roar, Blade of the Heptases, as well as Blade of Despair, and plus the Execute on there. There's no way. You see, our team cannot do anything against it. To be honest, the Granger pick was last in the draft. So we already saw the Hilda, we already saw the Johnson. You know, and somehow our team still went for the Granger. So it's just really bad draft, to be honest. Against that kind of composition, we really struggle because of this. And there's nothing much we can do. We have to play very safe, and we have to look for opportunity. So you can see that now there's a 6,000 gold difference. We're behind by 6,000 gold. And obviously at this point you really just have to farm it up. You have to clear out the waves, don't get caught. And then when the opportunity arises, when the enemy team steps too far forward out of position, you catch one of them out, and we can't force a full-on fight. You can see, because we don't have the tools for that. We only have a Jawhead, we go for pickoff. Because we go for, I went for the Yu and my team, yeah, so yes, a little bit too greedy here, but I already expended everything onto the Yu, but our team just didn't follow up except for the Jawhead, and that was definitely not enough. You can see Hellcat trying to come in. Unfortunately, he got baited out as well. So it's a mistake on the enemy team. This does give us a little bit of a chance. It does reset us a little bit. Of course, that me dying there is not too great, but I already expended everything onto the Yu. But unfortunately, my team just didn't do it. So I had to adjust my expectations as well. So I just play more safe and wait for them to take the brunt of the beating first. So I can ensure I can be alive, so I can do the damage, I can, you know, do what I'm supposed to do, right? Otherwise I don't think I really rely on my team to do that much. So you can see Jawhead tries to gank onto the Hilda. I mean, I wouldn't expect, you're not a freaking tank, right? You can't catch someone like Surefire, and that's really the issue with it. So Jawhead's ultimate is already wasted. We're in a bad position right now, we shouldn't be fighting. Lunos is right in the mid lane, definitely not a good idea as well. Has to use the Brilliance immediately against the Hilda. If Hilda decides to chase, or if Johnson crashes in, we're in for another treat of death, and immediately Lunos goes to go down. Unfortunately, I used my ultimate here, but I know it's not good. I had to use it to try and get out. Trying to stop this Johnson right here, but he literally went all the way in. Attack a lot of damage here. And I try to do something, really. I try to help my team. Unfortunately, it's still getting executed or killed by that Hilda right there. And Johnson's still driving around, getting kills left, right, center, and unfortunately for the enemy team, they tank too much damage. So mistakes on the enemy team yet again give us another chance. If not, we could have easily just lost it at that point when Lunos already died. So I think you can really get the gist, or you can really get the gist here. So this is basically what happens when your team is playing bad in terms of positioning. Obviously, a huge portion before that is the draft, but we can't really control that afterwards. So what's the main issue now? is that people are always getting caught out. And that's really the strength of Johnson, right? He likes to catch people out. And the way he catches people out is so damn easy. If he bangs into anybody, it doesn't matter who you are, you can almost guarantee that you're dead, except if you're a tank. And that's really the huge difference here. So I'm trying to use my ultimate in scouting, make sure that no one's on the dragon. I'm sorry, the Lord. And you can see that Johnson's still driving around. He comes from the corner, crashes into it. I just jumped into it blind, but I have no choice. I need to protect my team. Our team successfully managed to disengage. Zhong takes a bit of a beating, and Kagura does get a final shutdown onto the Hilda. Like for the first time, Hilda actually died, and that's where it makes us give a little bit of a chance for us to come back over here. So the main issue with Hilda really is you can easily get kited. Obviously, Hilda does a lot of damage, but if you kite the Hilda, it's not that scary anymore. So we do force out the Eastern Shin to back off, and it's an opportunity for us to take more. Johnson's driving in, but we know it is a 5 versus 4, and we can see the Hellcat is even not there. So that's even better for us. We got one kill, and going for another one, trying to disturb this Hellcat, and this is very important because Hellcat's second skill is hit and miss. Right? If you hit the skill, it becomes really good. If you miss the skill, it becomes totally trash because the hitbox is so small. So with Yu Zhong's ultimate, you can really take this to your advantage by actually disrupting him and pushing him around so he can't aim his skill right. He uses Petrify, but what can you do? You're literally stuck there because Yu Zhong just keeps nosing you around, and that's really what I did here, and fortunately prevented the Hellcat from being able to get any kills out of that, and we had a very good fight since we already won with the pick off on Hilda. So this is basically a time for us to turn the tables. The Lord has already spawned. Our team is looking for engage, and they do get one really nicely done, of course, but it was a little bit risky because I was not there. But they saw the man advantage, and that Eastern Shin was definitely out of position. As you can see, that Johnson was away, and now he just decides to drive in. Johnson's going in, looking for people to find out, and here comes Hilda in the corner. A lot of damage coming out, and yeah, I died to the Chang'e right here. So it's unfortunate really, but I had to block a lot of the damage, and because of that my whole team actually survived. And honestly, even though I didn't really like to do that because my team isn't really doing too well, sometimes it's better to keep yourself alive, but you must always realize that sometimes you can't really do much on your own as well. You can see, yeah, without that, yeah, our team is just falling apart, which is really sad. But of course, you also know that you are in a crucial position where you can make the huge decisions because you're an offlaner. Especially with Petrify and Yu Zhong, you can definitely dive somebody and ensure the kill, especially in the mid to late game, which is currently the situation. You can see right now in terms of the build, after the Brute Force Breastplate, I went for War X, I went for Bloodlust X, and going for Blade of Despair. So you might be thinking, why don't you go for some defensive items like Queen's Wings, maybe Rose Gold Meteor, or like Oracle, Athena Shield, Blade Armor, Anti-Caress. I think you get the point, right? Basically, the difference here is that when you are behind, you must build extra damage. And I think some people, some don't really understand this. It's like when you're behind, you shouldn't be building tanky items. And the reason for that is because your chance really occurs when you try and one-shot people. You know, you catch them off guard, use your burst damage with your items to get them out. You're not going to win by building defensive items when you are behind, because you will not have damage to kill them anyway, and since they are hit, they might actually kill you instead with the extra items and level and gold advantage they have. So you can see I've completed my Blade of Despair. Immediately going after that will be Rose Gold Meteor, as a huge issue for me is actually the Chang'e. So I'm quite sure you all know at this point this patch is terrible for everyone else who does not carry magic damage, and it's really good for those who carry magic damage, in particular those mages like Harley, like Lunox, like Chang'e, like Farsa, like Eudora especially. The meta now is really burst damage and it's burst magic damage, so you really have to be careful of that, and that's why I immediately, almost in all my games right now, go tough boots. Of course, this has also been my favorite boots of choice, especially on a side laner like Yu Zhong. But let's just see what happens here. You can see Johnson actually crashes, and that's how you fight, because Johnson crashed and his team was not ready with him. So Hellcat is already pushed back. I'm looking for the Eastern Shin. I saw him in the corner. I'm coming right in. Immediately use my Petrify. He can't run away. And we do get a kill. And this is basically where we turn the fight around. So obviously Johnson has a lot of good engage potential, but the problem obviously is it's very easy for you to be separated from your team, and when that happens, you're gonna be in trouble. So you can see with Hilda's full damage, just get popped immediately, immortality is gone, pushing for the tower, and then Hilda, the Nexus goes down, and somehow we win the game in the end. So I guess it's a little bit of a GG well played, but we have to take note of a few things, right? So the main thing first is definitely that if you're playing this type of competition, you must understand your strengths. In terms of my team, my strength or our team's strength is not really 5-on-5. It's actually trying to find out pickoffs in the early game, and just pick anybody off who is out of position and burst them down immediately, and that's really our team's strength. But our weaknesses definitely will be 5-on-5 fights, because the enemy team has a lot better engage, and they also have a lot of dive and burst damage, which our team doesn't have in terms of peeling. And that's really the battle between the two of them, and you can see that it was slipping away in the mid game because our team was really out of position, and we always got caught in a situation where they had a man advantage and they had to jump on us, and that thing is so huge on the Johnson. So always remember, going against Johnson, you must either separate him from his team, make sure that his team is not ready when you try and stop his ultimate. Otherwise, just let him go and try to catch someone else instead, or look for pickoffs on other people such that you can always get your man advantage. And always remember to play to your strengths. And of course, regardless of the role you're in, always remember what your job is. As a side laner, for me, my job is to try and dive the backline. Of course, there's a little bit of a difference here for Yu Zhong because I took Petrify. I have a little bit of a duty to protect my backline as well, especially if there's a lot of people trying to dive, because our team doesn't have a lot of counter dive, so that you have to adjust accordingly. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Janice signing off. I'll see you guys next one.